the
Yes.
best year yet? Yes. Great. I'm going to move this over here. You're all looking pretty good this year. I agree. I'm impressed. And it's always great to see the room just filling up and filling up. And we will be doing our visioning afterwards. And in addition to the visioning, there's going to be some practical stuff afterwards. Because a number of people have said, well, how can I help? How can I make a difference in this? Are there calls that need to be made? What needs to be done? So it's going to be an opportunity for anybody who wants to do some of that stuff. And so I'm looking forward to all of that. First we open up to Spirit's highest ideal for us, and then we treat and move our feet. Right. Yeah. Our 2019 theme is spirituality in action. And that's what we're doing here at CSL Boulder Valley. We are spirituality in action. And January, as Leah mentioned, is back to basics. And so there are centers and churches all over the world who are doing the back to basics thing this month. And so what we do is we look at the first 4 chapters of our book and kind of go from there, because that sets the basics for the teachings. Now, first, some background information. The name of our teaching is The Science of Mind and Spirit. It's also often just shortened to Science of Mind. The founder of our movement was Dr. Ernest Holmes, and he did his work predominantly between 1919 and 1960 when he passed from this world. He was passionate about finding the truths that run through all religions, the truths, the rules, the goodness, the love that runs through everything. And he called to that the golden thread of truth. The golden thread of truth. He wanted to identify those principles so that he could put them to work in his own life, and so that he could teach others. Because the movement started as an educational institute, and then it was only later that folks convinced him to start a church. I've heard that Ernest Holmes was rather reluctant to do that, but eventually he did. The movement that we're part of is Centers for Spiritual Living. There are centers and churches. Some call themselves churches, some call themselves centers, all over. And it's growing in South America, definitely growing in Mexico. We have centers in the Ukraine, of course, lots in the United States and Canada. And it's just a movement that is growing throughout the world, It's a practical spirituality. That means it gives us tools to make a difference in our lives. It gives us tools that we can take home from here on Sunday and use during the week. And I try to do that every week, give you some kind of homework. Yeah. Y'all like the homework, huh? Centers for Spiritual Living was previously called Religious Science. And the name was changed because it kind of caused some confusion. And so let me clear up a little of that confusion by telling you who we are not. We're not Christian Science, although if you go back far enough, we have some similar roots, some of the same roots. We're definitely not related to Scientology in any way. We're not a cult, as some have claimed. Now, cults attempt to program people's minds, to control their thinking, and we don't want to control your thinking. Besides, look around. Does this look like a kind of group that could be controlled? I'm not going to try, for sure. And we are not a teaching that believes in sin in some of the ways that other religions do. We believe that sin is missing the mark, making a mistake, enabling us to learn from some things. We don't believe that any kind of confession is needed in order for us to avoid eternity in hell. So I've got a little story about that. One day, the elderly priest called in this eager, young, new priest who was shiny-faced and had shiny ideas and wanted to do all sorts of new things. So the older priest calls him in and says, "Son, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the new things that you're instituting here." And so the young priest is all excited, and the older priest says, "You know, I love it that you took out those hard old wooden pews in the front and put in the plush theater seating, because now the front of the church fills up first." And then, so that the young priest was all proud of that and delighted, and then the older priest goes on to say, "And you know, I'm so glad that you told me that if we up-leveled our music, if we got something better as far as music, that we get more people, because ever since you've gotten that rhythm and blues or that rock and roll choir, I tell you, we're full up to the balcony." And the young priest is just beaming, so proud. And he says, "Oh, Father, I am so glad that you are open to all of these new things that are so wonderful." And the older priest says, "Well, to a point I am. To a point. But I'm afraid you've gone too far with the drive-in confessional." And the young priest says, "But Father, confessions are up. I've taken double the confessions that I used to." The older priest says, "Yes, son, I know that. But you know, the neon sign at the top of the church that says, 'Toot and tell or go to hell,' that has to go. That has to go." Now, the only heaven and hell that we really believe in is the heaven and hell that we can each create for ourselves with our choices and with our actions. And so we don't need to worry about that. Our teaching, The Science of Mind, is a response to a growing need. People who know that maybe the religion, the philosophy that they grew up with just isn't working anymore for them. They've done a lot of thinking, and sometimes with a lot of thinking, things that we used to agree with don't make as much sense. And so we were here to serve all of us who are open to knowing greater truth, who are open to actually exploring and feeling the godness that is within each of us. So we offer a spirituality of depth and joy. We offer a philosophy of wholeness, and we offer a science of success. And all of these things that we offer are for one reason: to absolutely allow the godness that is within us, the joy that is within us, to shine, to bless others, to be a beacon in the world. As we talk about those candles, the consciousness that we have, we know that in each of us there is that light, the light of the divine, and I see it so clearly in all of you, so clearly in all of you. Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote many books, but the biggest one he wrote, and the one that we use the most, is The Science of Mind. It's an amazing book, sometimes a little hard to read. He was a man of his times, and since he passed in 1960, for some of us with feminist leanings, it's a little challenging because he refers to man and his and God the Father and kind of a lot of that male stuff. But you know, that's what they did in that time. That's what they did in that time. But there is so much wisdom and so much truth, and this book has changed so many lives. And the first 4 chapters of the book kind of lay out the basics. And the chapters are the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. And so there conveniently are 4 weeks in January. And so we will have 1 week on each of those topics. And today we'll be looking at the thing itself. Ernest Holmes said this: "There is a universal wholeness seeking expression through everything. We are calling it simply life. The religionist calls it God. The philosopher calls it reality. Life is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination." Think of that. Infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. It is the invisible essence and substance of every visible form. Its nature is goodness, truth, wisdom, and beauty, as well as energy and imagination. Our highest satisfaction comes from a sense of conscious union with this invisible life. And that conscious union, that is mysticism. That's what Leah's class is going to be about. A mystic is one who experiences the divine. And in her class, you will explore various ways to bring that experience into greater awareness in your life. This universal wholeness is what Ernest Holmes called the thing itself. Now, of course, the universal wholeness goes by many names. We can call it spirit, love, life. We can call it the universe, the absolute truth. We can call it a zillion names. Emerson called it the oversoul. Native Americans worship it as the Great Spirit. Lao Tzu called it the Tao. And Einstein referred to it in his unified field theory. So Ernest Holmes used all of those names and many more. He also called it the thing itself. And very often, from his Christian upbringing, he called it God. Now, if the word God doesn't work for you, please translate. You can call it infinite spirit, you can call it life, you can call it love, you can call it the divine, whatchamacallit? Because the divine doesn't care what words we use. The divine knows what's in our heart. But the divine doesn't care what words we use. This is not a being up there that has an ego and has to be placated by being honored with specific honorifics. That's just not the way it works. We use words, but what we're trying to convey is so much beyond words that you may as well call it whatever you want to, including the thing itself. The thing itself is the one creative, intelligent power in the universe. The only power. The only creative source. The only source of all ideas and all substance and all processes that bring things into creativity. Anything that we do, anything that we create, this is spirit flowing through us as it gives us the ideas. And then since there's only one substance in the world, the materials that we use are godness. And we get to shape that in various different ways. Everything that is an expression of the one life force. that we can call the thing itself. And the thing itself, this one light, that's what's in each of us. That's what gives you the life that you have. That's what grows our hair and our fingernails. That's what digests our food and beats our hearts. That's the passion that's within us that allows us to sing in amazing ways, that allows us to write, that allows us to do art, that allows us to interact with people, that allows us to use any of the gifts that we have. The one life that is within us. And because we are one with it, I mean, we can never be separated from it. It's not, oh, well, we come to church on Sunday, and okay, we are like right here with God. Nah. Always. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you can never be separate from that amazing life that is within you. Amazing. Now, the God of our teaching isn't an old guy with a long beard and robes that hangs out in the clouds. The God of our teaching is one of the presence of love. It is a godness of possibility and creation and love and life and joy. That is what we are connected to. Now, we're also taught that this divine source, this godness, isn't disappointed in us when we do wrong things. It isn't angry at us. It doesn't want to condemn us to hell or any other bad place. It absolutely is loving, compassionate, willing to let us make our own choices and learn from them. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has ever made any choices that were really learning experiences, but yeah, sometimes we do that. This is a godness of unconditional, infinite love. Now, Dr. Holmes has suggested that all of our heartaches, all of our pain, all of our problems stem from one thing, and that is a belief in separation, a belief that we are separate, that we're separate from each other, that we're separate from the earth, that we're separate from our supreme source. When we remember that we are not separate, that's when our life can really blossom. Our teaching, The Science of Mind, has been called an operating manual for life. You remember in the olden days when you got a new car, you'd get a big old owner's manual like this. Now it's mostly online. But we have in this book, The Science of Mind, and in our teaching, an operating manual for life. But you know, if we leave it on the shelf, if we don't open it, if we don't read it, if we don't use it, it doesn't do much good. Now, have any of you here ever had applications, or do you now have applications on your phone or your computer that you don't know how to use? Okay, I see some heads nodding and hear some chuckles, right. And have you ever had somebody show you how to use an app, or show you something more that you could do with it, and it ended up to be really handy and you use it all the time now? Does anybody else ever have? Yeah. Well, that's kind of what the Science of Mind teaching is. It can teach us about possibilities that we didn't even know were there. It can give us tools for living magnificent lives that we had no idea. Life can get better than you can ever even imagine it. And then it can keep getting better. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have challenges, we do, but how we face our challenges is what's important. Our perspective, what we decide to think about what is happening to us, is all important. But in this teaching, we have absolutely a teaching that can restructure our health, it can restructure our wealth, it can restructure our opportunities, our love relationships, our families, our creativity. It can restructure anything in our life that we would like to have restructured. In our Declaration of Principles, also called, nope, this is not the right slide. Okay, let's go back and see where we are.
Isn't technology wonderful?
Yeah, technology is wonderful. Let me see.
Yeah.
Okay, that is right, yeah. This is in our Declaration of Principles, also called What We Believe. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It's the logical outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. Now, in that quote, Dr. Holmes brings forth an ageless truth, that the Creator and the created are one. We are not separate. That's the main lesson of the thing itself, that we are one with the divine, that it lives into and as us. Everything that is an expression of that source, that life force, that love force. We can use it. We can use it to make changes in our lives. He's speaking of a presence and a power that is beyond human understanding, that is the source of every amazing invention that has ever come about, that is the source of every amazing idea, that is the source of every touching, heart-opening experience each of us has ever had. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is your life and my life now. And that's what quantum science is telling us also. They discovered that you can't break matter up into tinier and tinier and tinier pieces, because eventually it seems to disappear into an energy that is consciousness. And out of that consciousness arises matter, arises the stuff that we can touch, that we can weigh, that we can measure, that we can play games with, that we can drive around in. All of this has its basis in consciousness, thought. And of course, the science of mind and other mystical teachings tell us that this is an energy, a consciousness that is everywhere, and it's good. It's good. It wants the best for us. It opens up opportunities for us, and it supports us as we take those opportunities. Present everywhere. Now, one of the most powerful things we can know and remember about God, the thing itself, is that we are not separate from it. I know I've said this several times. You might hear it again a time or two today. We are not separate from it. We are surrounded by it and immersed in it. We are made of it. It's love. It's joy. It's absolute beauty and compassion. It's the courage that we have to face challenges. It's the beauty of new grandbabies. It's the beauty of our children and grandchildren growing up. It's the beauty of change in the world that we can be part of. It's the beauty of the new year. Because we're one with the divine, all of that is available to us. All we have to do to access any of those qualities of God, the love, the joy, the beauty, the compassion, and it could go on and on and on. All we have to do is claim it and decide that that's the way we're going to live. Decide that that's the way we're going to step forth into the world. That we are going to act. If I choose joy, okay, I'm just going to go forth and act in joy. Let's just do it. You know, why not? So, what quality of the divine, quality would you like more of in your life? The beginning of the year is a great time to kind of look at that. So what quality would you like more of in your life? You want more love? More joy? More money? More opportunities? More fun? Whatever it is you want, just bring that word to mind. Now, in a minute, we're going to repeat our affirmation together. And when we get to the third line, where the blank is, go ahead and say the quality that you want to experience more of. Okay? So go ahead and claim what you want. You don't have to say it loud, but speak it, because there is power in our voice. There is power in us speaking what it is we intend to claim. So you ready? Okay. Right here where I am, God is. Right here where I am, love is. Right here where I am, delight is. Now your homework, I told you I was going to give you homework. Your homework is to contemplate that this week. To think about how you are made of the thing itself, this Godness. To think about how you are an expression of the divine essence. And think about how you want this to express as you. Think about how wherever you are at this very moment, the right here, wherever that is, that you are God. That you are an expression of love, that you are an expression of joy. And so remember, right here where you are, God is. Right here where you are, love is. Right here where you are, joy and all goodness is. So let's take that into prayer. As practitioners, stand with me, knowing and remembering the highest and greatest truth for each of us.
Maybe it's a song, you know?
Right here, right now, God. Always and everywhere. God. It lives as us. It has brought us this beautiful day, this beautiful community. It has given us life. It has given us the opportunity to make our choices and therefore move forward in life with our own decisions, learning our own lessons, sharing our blessings. And so I absolutely know that as we go forward this week, each one of us is blessed. We are reminded in numerous delightful ways that God lives in through it as us, that Spirit expresses in through it as us, that that's what we are here for, to show the glory, the wonder, the joy, the health, the abundance, the love of the divine. And so I know that each one here is blessed. I know that each one here is a blessing, that as we go out, we shine our light in amazing, amazing ways, making this world a world that works for everyone, bringing peace, bringing joy, bringing whatever change is needed for humanity to reach this higher place of harmony and peace. And so I know that because we're blessed, because we are a blessing, we can just let this go in gratitude. We can let it be. We can let Spirit unfold it as us. I'm grateful. And if you want to join me in this, please say, and so it is.
One more time, everybody. Cheryl Renee.